AI is becoming part of everything now. It's in search engines, browsers, code editors, phones, office apps, customer service tools, and pretty much every platform is trying to add some kind of AI feature. But here's the question a lot of people are starting to ask. Do I really want every prompt, every file, every idea, and every private question going to somebody else's server? And that's a fair question, because a lot of us are using AI now for more than just simple stuff. We're asking it to explain commands, we're pasting in error messages, we're asking it to help write scripts. Some people are using it to summarize notes, review code, plan projects, or troubleshoot issues in their Homelab. So the question becomes, is there a way to use some of these AI tools without sending everything to the cloud? And the answer is yes. Today, I'm going to show you how to run AI locally on Linux using Ollama. Now, I've done a couple videos like this in the past, but we're going to keep it practical and beginner friendly and try to be honest so you guys can get a good understanding how to set this up. Because I'm not here to tell you local AI can replace every cloud AI tool, because it doesn't. But I do want to show you why this matters and how it works and why Linux is a great platform for experimenting with it. Now, if this kind of Linux, open source, self-hosting, and local AI content helps you out, go don't hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment down below telling me what kind of machine you would run local AI on. Now, let me go down and explain why this matters. So the reason local AI is getting attention is not because everybody suddenly wants to become an AI engineer. Most people just want more control, as well as privacy. And that's really what this comes down to. When you use a cloud AI tool, you're trusting that platform with whatever you type into it. Now, that might be fine for general questions. If you ask, what does chmod do in Linux? I'm probably not worried about that. But what about when you paste in a configuration file, or maybe some code from a project that you're working on that you don't want shared with anyone? That's where people start to slow down and think, hold on, where is this data going? And that doesn't mean cloud AI is bad, because I use cloud AI too. It's useful, it's fast, it's powerful. But if you're already the type of person who cares about Linux, self-hosting, open source, privacy, and owning your own tools, then local AI is something you should understand, because this is the same mindset behind running your own cloud storage or your own home server. It's not always because the self-hosted version is easier. Sometimes it takes more work, but you learn more, you control more, and you're not locked into one company's platform. And that's why local AI fits into this digital independence series. Now, before we install anything, I want to make the trade-off clear. Cloud AI gives you convenience. You open a website or an app, you ask a question, and it works. But local AI gives you something different. It gives you that control and privacy. Your prompt can stay on your machine. Your model runs on your hardware, and you can use it offline in most cases. You can test different models. You can connect it to your own tools. You can run it on a Linux desktop, a server, or inside your home lab. So it's not about saying cloud AI is bad or local AI is good. It's about understanding the trade-off. Cloud AI gives you convenience, speed, and access to powerful models. Local AI gives you privacy, control, offline access, and room to experiment. Now, let's talk about what you need before we get started with the demo. And I want beginners to hear this clearly. You do not need to go buy some expensive AI workstation just to start learning. Better hardware helps, but it's not required to understand the basics. For this demo, I'm using Ubuntu 26.04. If you're on Fedora, Arch, Debian, or another distro, the commands may be slightly different, but the concept is the same. So you need a Linux desktop, laptop, server, or VM. You need some RAM. I would say 8 gigs can get you started. With smaller models, 16 gigs is more comfortable, and 32 gigs gives you more room to experiment. You need disk space because models can take up several gigabytes, and you need a internet connection to download the model, and you need basic terminal comfort. Now, a GPU is optional. If you have a NVIDIA GPU and the drivers are working, that can help a lot. AMD can work too, depending on the setup. But if you're CPU only, that's fine for testing. Just understand it may be slower. What's up, y'all? If you've been watching my channel for a minute, you already know I stay talking about Linux. And if you're looking for a solid, reliable enterprise Linux distro, let me put you on to Rocky Linux. This is the go-to replacement for CentOS, and it's built for the community by the community. It's got everything you need for a stable and secure Linux experience, whether you're running servers, home labs, or enterprise workloads. And the best part, it's backed by CIQ, making sure it stays rock solid for the long haul. So if you're tired of these companies pulling a plug on your favorite distros, Rocky Linux is where you need to be. And I've covered Rocky Linux before, and trust me, it's worth checking out. So head over to rockylinux.org to learn more and get started. Keep it techie. Peace. Now let's go down and get Ollama installed. And I wanted to go down and go to ollama.com so I can show you guys the website right fast. And of course, I'll have the link down in the description of the video. And as you can see on the main page, that is the installation right there on the front. It's that curl command right there that will allow you to download the installer. And so all you have to do is paste that in the terminal, or you can download it. I'm gonna just copy it from here. And then let's switch back over to our terminal. And what I'm gonna do is paste that in there to the terminal, and just to show you guys that. But anytime you see a command that downloads a script and runs it, you should understand what's happening. It's convenient, but it also means you're trusting that source. For a lab machine, this is the simple route, but if you're in a production environment or you just want to be extra careful, review the script first or test it in a VM. But let's go down and run it right fast. I just wanted to at least make that disclaimer right there. And type in our sudo passwords, boom, and it'll go through and run that script. And I'll be back when it finishes. Now, it's pretty much done. It typically takes a little bit longer when you have NVIDIA drivers on here, but the installation is complete. And you can basically just run the command from the command line. But as you can see, it checks to see if you have a NVIDIA GPU on here. It'll install the GPU version if you have one on here. If you don't, it'll install the CPU version only. And then one of the things you want to do after that is just verify that it's actually running. So you can run systemctl and then status and Ollama, because it should have started the service. Now, as long as it shows that it is up and running, you're good. So it'll say active, enabled, and all that good stuff, and it'll show that it's actually running. So now the next thing we need is a model. So let's go down and quit right fast here and get back to our terminal. Let's go Ollama, and then let's go -H. This will bring up all the available commands for Ollama. Let's see what we got in here. Yeah, the large language model runner, a usage. So we got Ollama, and then the flags or commands. So here's the available commands. So let's go down and pull us a model. And I kind of already know one that I'll pull, but let's just go to the website right fast so I can show you guys one right fast and where to actually find them. So basically up here at the top left, just click on model, and you can search through here. You can just scroll through here, but I'm gonna get a small one. I know which one I'm gonna get. I'm gonna pull just the main one. So Llama 3.2, I'm gonna take that latest off of there too. I'm gonna just run it like this, and that should pull the Llama 3.2, and it should be 2 gigs. So yeah, it's gonna pull that one. And as you can see, it pulls it down, and boom, we're good to go. And as we can see up here, we can actually run our model, and I'll show you guys how to do that right fast. And this will allow us to start chatting with our model. So let's go Ollama and then run. And actually, let me show you guys the list right fast. That way you guys can know how to list out the models that you have if you have more than one model in here. So Ollama list, and then you can run that model. So let's just go Llama 3.2 and press enter, and this will run it. This will basically put it in a chatting mode, so you can actually chat with it from the command line. As you can see, there we go, send message, and you got options there. It shows you how to get help for your options, like how to close it and all that stuff. So let's just ask it a simple Linux question. So let's go explain Linux file permission, like I'm new to Linux. And this may take a little while because, like I said, it's running in a virtual machine. Oh, it's actually pulling it. Yeah, it's doing pretty good because this is, yeah, it's a small model, and it's real good for running on small systems. This model is actually good for running on like laptops. So as you can see, it's pulling all of this. It's putting all this information together for us real fast. Perfect. This is perfect where a local AI can help. You know what I'm saying? You're learning a Linux concept and you don't need to send that question to a cloud platform. All right, now let's make it a little bit more complex. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see, write a bash script that backs up a folder and adds the dates to the backup name. Let's see what it comes up with. Here's an example of a bash script that backs up a folder. Oh, it's coming up with it. It's dropping it right here. It's even putting notes in there. That's super cool. So it's giving you that example. This is where I need to say something important. Do not blindly run commands just because AI generated them. Read the command, understand what it does, test it in a safe folder first. You know what I'm saying? If you see commands like rm-rf or dd or mkfs or anything that changes permissions across a whole directory, slow down and verify what this thing is actually doing. AI can help you learn, but it can also be confidently wrong. Now let me try one more because that was interesting to see. Let's see, help me troubleshoot why a system D service is not running or not starting. Let's try that. Let's say that, see if that works. See what it'll give us. Let's go through some steps to troubleshoot why the system D service isn't starting. Initial steps: check the service file, verify that the service file has the correct syntax. So that's cool. It brings up journal CTL-U, common issues, missing dependencies. Now this can be helpful because it might remind you to check, like your system status, the service name, the journal CTL. That's it. Like I read a little earlier, system CTL daemon reloads. That doesn't mean the AI is always right, but it gives you starting points. That's cool. And to see what models are installed, like I said, you can run that Ollama list. So if you got more than one model installed, you know what I'm saying, that is the option to use. Oh, and that's awesome. It even gave you some advanced troubleshooting down at the bottom. But anyway, that's enough to get you started. Now the terminal works fine, especially for Linux people, but sometimes you want a browser interface. Maybe you want something that feels more like a regular chat app. Maybe you want to run Ollama on a server and access it from another computer on your network. That's where Open WebUI comes in. Open WebUI gives you a web interface for chatting with local models, and it can connect to Ollama. And for this part, I'm using Docker. And if you've been following the channel for a while, that fits right in with the home server and Docker videos. So let me switch back over to my terminal because I'm SSHing to another computer, but I wanted to show you guys a simple way to run Open WebUI in Docker. This is a Docker compose command that I have set up for one of my servers, and I have it connected to Ollama using the IP address of the server that we have running currently. Now let me go down and switch over to my browser right fast because I want to go down and log into the server right fast, the Open WebUI, and all I had to do is go to the IP address. That's the way I have it set up right now, and I just put a test account in here just for this demonstration. See if we can get in here. No thanks. And let's go down and test it out right fast. Now instead of chatting in the terminal, you have a clean browser based interface. This is useful for a Homelab because you can run the AI model on one Linux machine and use it from another device on your local network. But don't expose this to the internet just because you can. You want to start it local, then maybe LAN, and remote access should come later after you understand authentication as well as HTTPS, VPNs, and firewall rules. But just to give you a quick example or demo right fast, let's just go down and run something right fast. Now let's talk about what I would actually use this for, because installing tools is cool, but if it doesn't help you with your workflow, it becomes another container you forget about. For Linux learners, local AI can explain commands before you run them. For scripting, you can ask it to help create a bash script and review it and test it safely. For like system admin work, it can help outline troubleshooting steps. For Ansible, it can help create a starter playbook. For Docker, it can explain a compose file or help spot basic mistakes. And for documentation, it can help you create README files for your Homelab services. And for people studying for Linux, it can create study plans, quizzes, and notes creators. You can use it too for helping with videos and stuff, summarize research notes, turn ideas into cleaner structures. But here's the part I want to stress. Local AI is best when you treat it like an assistant. It can help you get unstuck. It can help explain something in plain language. It can help create a first draft, but you still need to review the output. That's especially true with terminal commands. If you don't know what a command does, don't run it just because an AI tool gave it to you. Ask it to explain the command first, then verify it. That habit alone will save you from a lot of problems. Now, let's keep it real for a minute. Local AI has limitations. A small local model is usually not going to be as strong as the best cloud AI models. It may hallucinate, it may give you outdated or incorrect information. It doesn't hold a lot of context. It may struggle with complex reasoning. And if your hardware is weak, it may be very slow. That's not necessarily a failure. That's just a trade-off. Model size matters, RAM matters, CPU matters, GPU support matters. If you're running a small model on CPU only, use it for smaller tasks. Ask it to explain commands, draft notes, create simple scripts, or summarize short text. Don't expect it to perform like a massive cloud model. Also, private does not automatically mean secure. That's a big one. Just because something runs in your house does not mean it's configured correctly. If you expose it to your network with no password, that's a problem. If you expose it to the internet with no reverse proxy security, no HTTPS, or no authentication, that's a big problem. So local AI is powerful, but it still needs the same mindset we use with every other self-hosted service. So let's wrap this up. Local AI on Linux is not magic. It's not always faster, smarter, or easier, but it gives you options. And that's what I care about. That's why I like Linux and open source. It gives us the ability to test new technology without handing over every piece of data by default. And even if you still use cloud AI sometimes, you now understand the trade-off better. So here's my question for you. What would you use local AI for first? Learning Linux, writing scripts, documenting your Homelab, coding, studying for certifications, or something completely different? Drop it down in the comments. If this video helped you out, go down and hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who's trying to learn Linux, self-hosting, or local AI. And go down and hit that hype button so we can get this video out to more people. And as always, keep learning, keep building, and of course, keep it tech. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. There's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself, start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it techie.